What if you could make more money with books and multiply your impact with your book without selling thousands of copies? Would you want to find out just how to do that? Well, that's what this show is all about.
Hi, I'm Henika Watkis, Porter, speaker, coach, author of Podcast Power, inviting you to listen to the Authorpreneur Secrets podcast, brought to you by C. Ruth Taylor, best-selling indie author and the Caribbean's most trusted voice on entrepreneurship. Get ready to dominate entrepreneurship.
It's episode 190 of the Authorpreneur Secrets podcast. And in today's show, I'm continuing with our $1 million book secrets, the author's shortcut to make millions without mass book sales. And I am the author of that book. And today I'm going to be sharing the second of three models that you can use to earn $1 million in any currency without mass book sales. And I'm going to be looking at the $1 million Academy membership book model. How I turned a book into a recurring revenue stream and built a small, thriving, profitable author community. I'll also be sharing the latest in my authorpreneurship ventures and some updates from around the world. So stay tuned.
Your book is the perfect spark to get the fire going in your personal life, career, business, or ministry. Light that book spark today.
All right, let's start with the latest news around the world. Now, Amazon has rolled out in beta translation. So they are offering to some authors the opportunity for their books to be translated into Spanish, German, and I think another language. I am not yet in that beta. I hope I get into the beta just like how I got into the audiobook beta with virtual voice and was able to have 18 of my audiobooks produced in one day. So I'm hoping because I've always loved Spanish. I copped the prize for Spanish several years in a row in high school, and I got a one in CXC. And my first trip outside of the island of Jamaica was to the Spanish speaking country of Cuba. And I've traveled to Cuba 10 times. And so this has always been a dream of mine to have all my books translated into Spanish, because part of the region that I feel called to have impact is Latin America. I call it my Carla mission. So it's the Caribbean, Latin America, Africa, and now Asia. Because I am releasing on the 30th of November, that's next week Sunday, a book called The Making Sense of 9 to 5 in the East and West, Applying Wisdom in the Workplace. And I'm co-authoring that with Dr. Boaz Young, a business as mission consultant from Hong Kong, China, who is also a student at my school, Bakke Graduate University, and he completed the degree, which I'm now doing, which is a Doctor of Transformational Leadership. And it's just such an amazing journey. It's the modern day tale of Ruth and Boaz, but brought together by our passion for workplace, business as mission, and the theology of work. And so I'm excited about this. Already the book on pre-order has made the Amazon bestseller list. So I am putting on the final touches this week. I've printed a proof and I'm doing my reading. And I cannot stress enough that when you're doing the print book, it's important to print a copy and read through because I'm catching a lot of spacing issues missed online and yes, some grammatical errors missed in the different rounds of editing. So that's a best practice. And I'm excited about the possibilities for this book. Another thing is that the Small Book Big Impact Challenge is coming to a close, and I'm so excited. On this challenge, I have been able to complete this book, do the editing, formatting. I was able to complete another book. That book is Fairview's Untold Stories. So I completed that, and that's just set aside for editing and publication next year. I was also able to work on Driving with Confidence. I did updates to it, and so I just need to format it, print it, and have a thorough read through, and I can release it. Now, remember, I told you I'm not releasing that until I have been around the wheel at least 12 times consistently this year. And guess what? I'm at 9 out of 12. So I have three more times to drive to be able to release that book with confidence and integrity. And I'm no longer afraid to get behind the wheel. I have driven in these past days to places that I was once fearful of driving. My reversing is improving. I was clocking over 70 on the highway. And my instructor at one stage was saying, on another trip when I was going slowly, press gas, man, press gas. I'm like, you trust me to press gas? No, that is some confidence. But what I find is, as an intellectual, sometimes it's not easy to translate what you have in your head to action. And so sometimes what I think and what I do, it's not in sync, and I overthink. I try to think about what I need to do before doing it, and so you just need to let this thing come forth naturally. But I am pleased because I've been struggling to stay behind the wheel for 21 years, and what this does is that what I have written as my strategy in the book works. It may not work for everybody, but I want you to try my Driving with Confidence roadmap. In case, like me, you have been struggling as a woman, especially to stay behind the wheel. And as the year is winding down, because it's almost December, I am already making plans for the new year. And the most important thing to finish this year, of course, is my dissertation, to submit all 5 chapters. And so I'm already on track to graduate, but I need to finish these 2 chapters, the writing up of the findings and the chapter 5. So pray for me. I really need to focus on that. I'm using a tool called Delve for part of my coding and thematic analysis. I also printed my document and you, going over it by hand as well, the data. So I'm doing 2 things. And I want to submit everything by December 15, but if not by December 15, I have up until December 31 to submit everything. So I may not have a Christmas, but getting all 5 chapters in will be, I think, maybe the most important feat for this year. And a lot of firsts happened this year. So one of the things I want to do is to do my year in review. I think I'll do that maybe the first episode in January, and then roll out the interviews for the summit, because the Authorpreneur Summit is going to be January 30 to 31. And I'll be introducing you to those who will be sharing in next year's summit. So that's it in terms of news from around the world and the latest in my personal authorpreneurship ventures. There's always more, but I don't want these episodes to be too long, so we'll pick up next week. Without further ado, let's get into the $1 million book secrets for this week. And I'm so excited. It is the Academy membership model. How I turned a book into a recurring revenue stream and built a thriving author community. Now, when I wrote the book, Authorpreneur Secrets, and this is the main book of which this show is named, that I'm using to share these $1 million models. And this is an entrepreneurship strategy outside of publishing services. One of the quickest way to become a profitable entrepreneur is by offering publishing services, right? Because the self-publishing industry or the independent publishing industry is a $49 billion industry, which shows no signs of slowing down. And you know, Ecclesiastes 12:12b says, of making many books, there is no end. So you have an evergreen business, right? We're not going out of business anytime soon. But readership is often still a challenge. Most persons don't pick up a book after high school. And so that book, I knew that it might not get a lot of sales. I produced it for training. And sometimes, unless you make the book a textbook, it is not going to be read. So the book talks about how to write fast, how to publish cost effectively, and essentially how to become a profitable entrepreneur, how to turn your book into multiple streams of income and different revenue streams, right? So, what I did, I took the chapters of the book and I turned them into modules or courses and teaching. So, the academy was built on the three parts of the book. So it was my way of bringing the book to life because I'd gotten to a stage where I was just tired of publishing books and I was struggling to uh, create sustainable income. So in 2020, I launched the Authorpreneur Secrets Academy and I used the membership model where you pay subscription payment. So I started with $40 per month and I started with what we call legacy membership where you would be grandfathered in. So I said to those who were just coming in, we didn't have a lot of content at the time, just the book, that if you paid 1 year's worth of membership fee, which would have been 40 times 12, 480, that for the rest of the time that the academy exists, you wouldn't pay anymore. So 5 persons joined, and with them, I would go in like 3 times per month and I would teach them what was in the book. And then that became the content, and I kept building out more content until I got so much content that people felt overwhelmed. So, if you're going to do the academy membership model, you have to not overwhelm the people. It's not so much content. So, right now, after doing multiple evaluations, at the end of each cohort, it moved from a 1 year program to a 6 month program. And it's mainly based on the book and maybe 5 other videos or so, because I find that what the community values is more me going in and talking them through how to publish on a budget, and as a community helping each other in terms of getting feedback on your book, how to market, how to promote that, how to sell it, even your book title, your book description. So they value the community and the feedback and the accountability. And of course, it's teaching them to publish on a budget. So they love that. So it is delivering, because self-publishing, independent publishing can be expensive when you're hiring professionals to do it and not do it yourself. And so this was the purpose. So if you're going to do it, you need to have a transformational outcome and deliver an outcome that people want. And what it did is that it created recurring revenue. So I started at $40 and then I moved it to 47, and then to currently where it's at now, $99 per month, and it will stay that way until 2030, because all of this is part of raising up 10,000 author entrepreneurs from the Caribbean and the diaspora. That's the Vision 20 goal. That's why we have this podcast, right? And so this is one of the models. And so I had to use a platform to offer it. I started using a learning platform called Teachable. And because I'm a trained educator, I have a diploma in teaching, and I have several certificates in online education, I was able to organize the curriculum quite easily. But basically, I was just following the table of contents of the book, the parts of the book. And so it included writing, publishing, and how to monetize your book, basically. And I had short courses. And like I said, I use the membership model. But to actually set up the academy, I remember talking to my friend Raquel, because she was experienced in these membership groups and she gave me guidance how to launch it. And I used my birthday books and business celebration to launch it. So I used a live online event to launch it. And I told them that would be a founding members group. It took me about 18 months at 40 US dollars to make the 1 million in Jamaican, which is over 6,000. Now it's much easier because if you have 10 persons paying you 1,000 US dollars every month, in Jamaican by the end of the year, or even just the 6 months, you can see how easily you can make more than the 6,250, which would be the equivalent of the Jamaican 1 million. 6,250 US dollars equal 1 million Jamaican, right? But the more persons you have in your membership group, you can become a millionaire. So Graham Cochran, an American, used this similar model when he was offering lessons in helping people to create better sounds, as a musician to set up their studio. The name of his academy has slipped me. I think. Anyway, he was teaching them to record these things, and he started, I think he had a $99 monthly fee, and he had hundreds of people in his membership group, and they often call these academies, right? And he made 1 million US dollars with that model. So the more people you have, and the higher your price, the greater the chance. So I told it's not just, you know, a Jamaican million, but in any currency. And so the membership model does that. You have to find a way to retain people. You have to find a way to market that to get people in. And so our goal is to help you to publish for 1,000 US dollars or less. And by the way, that program opens in January again. So I usually meet once per month, which is the fourth Wednesday of each month. So the fourth Wednesday of January 2026 is when the program opens. And I am looking for at least 10 persons to join, because that's kind of like my way of giving back, because I understand the struggle. I went into debt to publish the first time, but I also use the Academy membership group. It has evolved, right, to certify book publishers, publishing coaches, those who want to start their own publishing business. The academy now becomes their practicum, and everything is related to my teaching. So we in college learned principles, then we had to go and teach in practicum. So the academy is where the aspiring publishers get their practice, because instead of me working and meeting one on one and helping the members to publish their books, I now assign them coaches in training who would have been trained in the publishing process to now work with them. So that's another entrepreneurship venture. And so they get the level one training after they finish the boot camp, and they're publishing a book for themselves. and then they are working alongside real authors who are publishing, and then I supervise and guide them. And some persons finish early in 3 months and they leave the program. Some go up to 6 months, and even sometimes when the program ends, there are one or two who are not finished, and uh, we work with them privately to finish. So that's what we mean. It's not an official academy where you have to go and register a school. It's just an online learning um, platform. And when we have this program, they call them academies. Even though Dave Chesson has his Authorpreneur Academy, which is really a course on book publishing, and he gives you writing tips. So that's in the show notes, $99 for the time being, and he calls it the Authorpreneur Academy. So when you hear the word academy, it is not a registered school, that kind of thing. It's just a term for the online training. So I helped another author to do this. Dr. Clara Ricketts returned her book, Yes They Can, how to help children with learning and behavior disorders, into her own academy called the Yes They Can Academy. I helped Bishop Carla Dunbar to do the same thing. And so her couples book goes with her Grow Your Marriage Academy. And it's Jim for short. And so you can turn your book into an academy, and you can charge a recurring fee. Now, in order to charge a recurring fee, what you do is really, it's really monthly payments. So for persons who are unable to pay in full, say the program is $600 for the year US, or $1,000 US, you just split that into how many months you want to run the academy. If it is 12 months, 6 months, and they pay that. Or maybe it's just several courses and you just run it. Because with Reverend Dunbar, she doesn't use the subscription model so much. She just has the course, and you pay um, in parts, one time or 2 or 3 months payment plan, and it works. She's been doing that for years, so it is sustainable. And so the whole idea is just to split up the payments, and then you have several persons paying you that each month, and you can secure recurring revenue. And if you do it long enough, 3 to 12 months, depending on the price, depending on how many join, you will be able to get that million. So to recap on the lessons learned along this journey from this $1 million model, I was tired of just launching books and struggling financially. So despite pouring heart, time, and energy into writing, I wasn't seeing sustainable income. So something had to change. And this was something that came out of prayer, as are many of my initiatives. So one day I got on my knees and I cried out to God and said, Lord, show me a better way. I cannot continue like this. By that time, I think I had 5 books when I launched the Authorpreneur Academy. And the idea came: create an academy, build a membership group, launch on your 40th birthday. So I did an online launch. And so it's from book to academy content. I took the content of Authorpreneur Secrets and turned it into a 12-month membership program. I named the academy after the book. I told myself that I would bring the book to life even if others would not read it and it didn't sell well. And so I had a rationale. I launched the academy using Teachable to host, and I used Zoom for live sessions. I used the founders launch model to test and build. So you have to pilot and pivot, right? This means there was no pre-existing content except the book. And then I built out my content month by month as I went along. I offered 3 live masterclasses per month, one-on-one consultation. So it was a mixture of masterclasses and coaching. And each year, what I did was to evaluate it and see how it could be improved. So at one stage, I even had 2 intakes for the year. based on a recommendation, because I also recognize that at the end of 6 months, some people would leave. And that's what I did. So for the $1 million Academy membership model, here are the $1 million book lessons. One, books are just the beginning. Use the book as the launch pad for your programs and services. You don't need to have it all figured out. That's number two. Start with your book, teach live while building content. Three, small is profitable. Very often in the news, what you find is that the media and everybody will interview you as soon as you have thousands of persons in a program, or you have thousands of followers on YouTube or other social media. But I found that small is profitable. My model is not just small book, big impact, but small groups, big income, right? So even with fewer than 10 members, a high value model can hit 6 or 7 figures. Iterate constantly. Let member feedback shape your evolution. Keep it simple. People prefer shorter sessions, clear outcomes, and real time support. Don't flood the area with content to overwhelm members. Create an urgency. So I limit the launch window to help drive commitment. Community matters. So I'm giving you 12 lessons, right? Just like last week with the other one. People join for content but stay for connection. Certify and delegate. So train others to reduce your workload and scale sustainably. So I have 2 persons who work along with me. If we get more members, then I have to get more coaches, right? 9, recurring revenue gives you peace. You don't start from scratch each month. So I knew where money was coming from. Always market. So every year you will need to plan to attract new members. Pricing courage. Don't be afraid to raise prices. Value trumps cost. And finally, number 12, use your story. Authenticity builds trust and attract your ideal members. So if you want to try this, remember you can teach live, you can host Q&A sessions, you can use platforms like Zoom or Google Meets or StreamYard, some way to meet with your group. And today they have circles. There is also another online community that Alex Ermozy is part owner. You have School, spelled SKOOL, and you have Mighty Networks. You have so many other platforms that you could use. School's basic plan is $9.99, so you could try that to build the community and offer the program. I built in my program, you don't have to follow me, one-on-one coaching. And like I said, you can start a founder's launch to validate your idea, meet at least once per month. So I no longer do 3 times per month. I realize that once is enough with the coaching model. So you have to find something that works for you, right? And I charge a low entry fee at the beginning and then raise the prices. So I trust that you found this authorpreneur model interesting, and you will want to try it. It's just the idea of recurring revenue and using the book, turning the content of the book into the teaching for the academy. So it's book 2, Academy Membership Group. All right, that's it for today. Just reminding you that of the making of books, there is no end. Go pen it to win it and dominate authorpreneurship. Ta for now, until next time.